Okay, hi, everybody. I'm now calling the Sherborn Conservation Commission meeting of December 5th, 2024 to order at 7:16. We'll have a roll call of who's present to start off. Michael Lesser, present. Steve?
Steve Scrimshaw, present.
Terry?
Terry Luskin, present.
Courtney?
Courtney Eck, present.
Okay. Well, at least we've got a quorum here. Before we start our hearing, I want to poll people here about, are people available for the December 19th in 2 weeks, which is the week before the holidays, as well as the January 2nd meeting. That would be 2 weeks after that.
December 19th, yes, for me. January 2nd, a little up in the air.
Okay,
Can't really let you know at this moment.
sure. Courtney, Steve,
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
available.
Fine.
you're available, Steve? Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, Kurt's available too, so we'll be okay there. Okay, let's see, other things here. I don't know whether to start there's more discussion about the schedule issues, but I'll just read that Joyce is the administrative approval for 113 Western Ave. Was that approved, or is that still in there?
It's still in the air because I was out most of the week.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure, okay, so there's nothing to go over there, nothing to approve under the administrative applications. Okay, we have a couple of minutes to continue some hearings here. I'll have to, I can't tell whether we're gonna have the 7:20, we have the ANRAD.
Yes, the Shang is here for that.
Yeah, right, and I see Elizabeth. No, I was just saying that at the same time, we have the Sherborn wetland regs, the drafting stuff, but whether, I think I'll just not open and continue it and just let it be delayed. And we can deal with the ANRAD and see what happens there. And if I heard it right, 3 Oldfield Drive is just going to be continued without discussion.
Correct.
Okay. Okie dokie. And then we have the one at 7:45. Okay. Fine. If there's any other 30-second things here, anybody have a quick announcement?
There's a warrant.
Oh, yeah, there is a warrant for about a couple $100 for postings. I could bring it up if people want. It's mainly mailing and postings.
Here, right down the wire.
Okay, somebody needs to mute themselves, whoever that is. Okay, 7:20. I'm now reopening the continued public hearing for the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation with that does not yet have a DEP file number for 13 Mill Street, AKA 0 Mill Street, map 8, lot 7. Okay, where are we on this?
The Shang and I went out and walked a portion of the wetland line, and we were in agreement with it. He's going to file an AA for soil testing that relates to that wetland line. And then one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight, Shang, is that the filing fee. I was able to speak with DEP about the filing fee, and if this had a single family house on it, if that's what this was for, work related to the house, then it would be the filing fee for a single family house. But as this is for a larger lot, multiple lots together with a larger wetland delineation, it's going to be a category 6. So you and I can review that offline.
And, right, also, even for the town fee.
Same
But
thing,
also-
yeah. Yep.
Well, the town fee is not based on the single family, it's based on the lot size. So, and this is more
So
than.
he and I will review that offline.
Okay, fine. Now you're gonna review the rest of the wetland line another time? Has that been
Yeah,
said?
we're gonna get it done for the next meeting next week, and then I'll have everything written up so that we're able to approve it at the next meeting.
Okay, Steve again wanted to join you on that. I guess you gotta keep everybody appraised of when
Sorry, it was a little bit hit and miss this week between our two schedules.
right, no, I just gotta let everybody know since,
Sure.
gather,
So-
Steve showed up yesterday. But,
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
Problem.
luckily you didn't have to go too far. So, but yeah, just for that site visit, why don't you, yeah, just keep everybody appraised as to the timing of that as soon as you know. Okay,
It'll either be Wednesday or Friday, and we'll know better at the beginning of the week, and I'll send out the text to
okay,
everybody.
okey doke. Are there any other issues or comments from either DeShang or Elizabeth before we continue the hearing?
It's just a quick question for the AA, for the soil testing. So I plan probably file, if it's not tomorrow, probably first thing Monday. I will email, so I will email Joyce and Debbie. So on that, so my question is for that AA, do we need to wait until next meeting or basically? Because we
No.
know that,
We do not need to wait for a meeting. We just go over them at a meeting.
I see, okay,
You just need to get it filed.
okay, all right, no, yeah, I just confirmed, okay, appreciate it. Yeah,
It
I
happens.
appreciate it, so, yeah, it's not, I didn't know Steve need to go there, I didn't see that, but I appreciate it. Joyce, make the effort even though, so she is under the weather, so with all the weather and the condition, so she made the effort to allow us to move on with our soil testing filing. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, and I assume that the testing is more than 100 feet from that
Yes.
line.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's not holding you up in that point. Elizabeth,
No.
were you gonna say something or?
Yes, I just wanted to thank Joyce as well for coming to 13 Mill Street today because I know it wasn't the best day and she's been not feeling well. So I appreciated, Joyce, your effort.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay. There's nothing else on this. I will move to continue this hearing until December 19th. What time do we?
7:20.
Okay. I move to continue this hearing for this ANRAD hearing to 13 Mill area to December 19th at 7:20.
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Michael, I, Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll see you next time, and some of us will see you before then, I guess, so with the site visit.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, it's 7:26. That's going to be continued.
Wait a minute. I just have to see which one. What are you continuing?
No, I'm talking about that the one at 7:30 will
Which
be.
one is it?
That's the 3 Oldfield.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, I guess for the 3 minutes, I'm gonna bring up more schedule stuff. Do people we're trying to talk with the select board about not necessarily meeting on the same nights that they meet. And so it's not fixed as to how that'll go, but I just wanted to feel out the three other commissioners here about the issue of whether we've normally had a pattern of the first and third Thursdays of every month. So it's sort of, I don't know, it's simpler, at least in my head, to look forward and figure out what everything is. They seem to be on a every 2 week schedule. So therefore their number of which day, Thursdays they're meeting on flips around from time to time. And so we would have to pick that sometimes it would be the first and third, and sometimes it would be the second and fourth, and who knows what. And so two issues of whether, one, I want to hear from each of you about whether the idea of just, we'll know the whole schedule ahead of time, I think, for 6 months or so. So therefore, we can plan out the 6 month schedule. It's just that you'll have to write down what it is because it's not something you can mechanically figure out. Whether that moving around on the Thursdays or even whether to consider another night like Tuesday. Can't do Wednesday, but
What if we went to every other week? Because that wouldn't affect, it would only affect a few months, a couple of months.
and not get the that little extra break every once in a while. That's a possibility.
I
Yeah.
know.
Right, just the
Um,
off week. Why not go with the off week? I
Well-
can't possibly do Tuesdays.
Okay.
10
fine.
months out of the year, I'm out.
Okay. What about do you care strongly one way or another about this floating Thursday thing? Or it might just.
Since the select board votes on their meeting schedule for the entire year at the beginning of the year, I don't care if we do something similar and just pick whatever Thursdays so that there's 2 a month and we put it all on the calendar. It just, as long as there's some kind of understanding, then that's acceptable to the select board, that if they go shifting their meetings around because of whatever reason, that just we can't reschedule everything on the drop of a hat because we have hearings every meeting.
Oh, yeah. No,
As long as they're okay with that, I don't see how that wouldn't work for us.
so that would work for you. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. Okay.
I would rather not change the meeting night. I also don't like Tuesdays is sandwich Tuesdays and we watch TV.
It's all right. Tuesday's out. Okay, we're just bound to the Thursday thing.
Yeah.
I've got the message clear and loud here. Steve, what do you think? Do you care much about this floating? I mean, you'll know ahead of time, but this different Thursday thing.
I don't think this impacts me that much. So,
Okay.
whatever.
I'm
Okay.
good with the idea too, so.
Okay, let me go check with the others and we'll bring it up. It'll come up at the next meeting too, so we'll poll the other folks. I just wanted to do that. And it's now 7:30. I'm now reopening the continued public hearing for the request to amend an existing order of conditions for 3 Oldfield Drive. So I'm reopening that. Now based on from the applicant, they requested an extension that we granted. And so we are
7:30.
7:30. Okay. I will now continue this. I move to continue this hearing on 3 Oldfield Drive to 7:30 on December 19th.
Second.
Any further discussion? Joyce, they're okay with December 19th? As opposed to?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, roll call vote. Michael, I, Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Okay. We have 14 minutes to the Great Rock Road world. And in the meanwhile, I am going to, let's see, what do we have here? Before we do that, do we have any side issues or questions?
No.
The certificate of compliance for 62 Mill Street.
Yes, so Dan McIntyre updated the plan to show the bounds that are out there. And now we have everything that we needed, so we could vote to approve that and issue a certificate of compliance.
Okay. Thank you for the report. Okay, I move that we grant the certificate of compliance for the work at 62 Mill Street.
Second,
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, I, Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Okay, dealt with all that stuff. So water here. See, get everything else here. Okay. There's no minutes to review. And there's no announcements. Okay. I will now reopen the continued public hearing on drafting possible changes to the Sherborn wetland regulations. I'll reopen it for this sort of whatever, 12 minutes or so. Then I'll continue it to after the next hearing. And then, I'll just start. I wanted to bring up, it's unfortunate that other people aren't here, as one issue that I wanted to do, even though I don't want to go, I'm not prepared to put forth all the old stuff, is the idea of whether we try to make our tree replacement sort of formula more, I have a few issues, whether we make that more formal. I think that in terms of replacement, sort of this number of trees for that size and this number of trees for that size, or some other formula based on basal area of the trees cut, and whether we actually want to stick that in the regs versus come up with a policy. I'm a little wary of putting it in the regs itself because some of the stuff might turn out to be site specific. But on the other hand, whether it also gives a certain consistency or ease for people, or whether we put in some general guidelines in the regs and say that we can play around depending on site conditions. So I'm just curious what other people think about it, since we often have that topic come up. So, comments, thoughts?
I have not been so much in favor of kind of the 1-for-1, a large tree, canopy, understory, whatever kind, being replaced by kind of a sapling. It feels as though down the road there'll be more value to it, but initially it feels incomplete. So
The issue is not, I agree with you, but the issue is whether we put that kind of formulas in our regulations versus it's a project by project negotiation, and we have some guidelines or policy on the side to give people some sense of things. It's not the actual formula.
right. I think that if we don't institute some at least general guidelines, then we'll get a variety of pushbacks of varying natures, varying on the person who's not wanting to do the work. So I think some formalization of sort of a bump of direction, generally 2-for-1, unless there are constraints that prevent it. I mean, I'd rather go more in that direction myself rather than leaving it fully open, just my 2 cents.
But that's as guidelines as opposed to in the regs.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, what do you think?
Well, is there a problem that we need to fix? What's not working about the current system? I'd like to hear about that.
Well, I'd say that we have the dead tree cutting policy, which sort of, I think, distorted things for a while, because sometimes we were looking back at that, which has a different goal. And so that doesn't really provide anything. It's the sense of whether just making it clearer up front in a policy would be probably my preference, of that we're looking for at least 2 to 1 or something, and some level and some amount, and some proportionality to the size of the crown of the trees that are cut. That whether that would help people up front, when they're coming into us, to have that in mind, rather than us telling them at the meeting. But so maybe you're right that we're maybe trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, but sometimes I feel like a little more instructions to people that we're looking for at least 2 to 1. You could say at least, even, and depending on sizes and this and that and settings.
When you say 2 to 1, I'm sorry, maybe I should know this, but 2 to 1, can you be more specific?
Oh, no, I don't want to get into the specifics are less. That's what we could talk about, if we want to do it at all. But it would be more a matter of, if a tree has a certain diameter, breast height, of a certain size, then it might have to be replaced, hopefully by 2 or 3, depending on the size, or more, or with maybe some mix of shrubs, of a certain size, like, let's say a minimum of 4 inches or 3 inches, I think we've been using. Some of the times we go back and forth about what size tree. The problem is a bigger tree, I guess, is a little less likely to survive. So we have to come up with a number of would come up. So it would be something akin to that if we go do the policy route, or general, versus even putting it in the regs, which I don't want to do myself, but.
I'm still having a little trouble wrapping my head around it. Suppose we wanted to have a big tree eventually, and just, let's say we want to replace an oak tree with an oak tree. And the oak tree you're replacing with is pretty small. So how does that get figured in if it's going to grow up to be a big oak tree sometime?
Would be the site conditions, depending on what the crown has disappeared and stuff like that. I mean, it would be the same deliberation we might have now, but we might give at least some upfront sense of that we're looking for some level of possible mitigation that we could adjust based on the site conditions, to see whether there's enough other crown around, or there's not enough other crown around, what percentage of the crown is removed, or there's a formula in something I sent you from Dover, how they look at some of the tree coverage, that we could also look at it. I don't know if I'll have time to do it before this next hearing, but I could pull that up on the screen to give you another approach.
Okay, could I hear, I'm curious what Courtney has, what input you might have, Courtney.
I don't think we should put something uber specific in the regulations per se. I'm certainly open to, like, the tree policy is, I think that's really helpful for people. And if we wanted to make some kind of policy document that people could look at like when they were making their applications, I think that's helpful. And just, I think it's always assumed, and we state it everywhere in the regulations, that we have lots of this is what we generally do, but conditions may vary and there may be situations where this doesn't work or we do something different. That's always in our purview.
Okay, so no matter what, we're gonna need some leeway for site-specific variation, whatever.
Yeah.
I think I agree too. I think we all feel that way. We can't make it a cookie cutter kind of thing. Okay. Then we'll, I think, somehow make a stab at that. And plus before we go tonight, I'll bring up the Dover one, just to bring up a whole other concept of how they do it there, which is significantly different.
Well, before we discuss it again, this is helpful, but I just also want to make sure we don't get into anything too detailed that we're just going to have to repeat all over again at the next meeting when we have everybody else here.
Sure.
Gary.
I was just trying to get the concept.
Oh, yeah. No, this is good discussion, I think, but I just want to make sure we don't go and have to reinvent everything at the next session because
Sorry.
I guess Jacob and Kurt are here or
Yeah, right.
whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, I asked, Kurt said that he might be able to show up later if we continue talking, so I told him to try to chime in if he could. Tune in, I meant. Okay, let's see. Now, we'll talk afterwards. I don't know if anybody got to read it, but maybe it's short enough that we can go over it. Dover has an interesting separate section of their regulations for subdivisions and large project developments. I think we could have a little interesting discussion or just thinking, if it's only about a page. I could pull it up on the screen when we continue this hearing after the next one. We don't have to do it very long and just walk through it to see whether it sort of looks of interest to us and applicable for us. But I don't want to, that's the other thing. So I don't want to bring up anything more. We have one more minute before we get to go to the next hearing, for which I think I will therefore move to continue this hearing about the regulations until I guess, what is it?
January 2nd.
To 7:55. No, to seven.
Oh,
I'll just
right.
move it to later.
Okay.
I'll move it to 7:55. I don't know how long we're going to spend on the other one, given that there's no DEP and other things. I move that we continue. It could always be delayed. I move that we continue this hearing until 7:55 tonight.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, aye. Steve?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Okay. And it's time. Notice is hereby given that the Conservation Commission of the Town of Sherborn will hold a virtual public hearing using Zoom technology at 7:45 on December 5th, 2024. The notice of intent NOI hearing will be held pursuant to Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws as amended, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Sherborn Wetlands Bylaw, to consider a proposal by the applicant's representative, Karen Skinner, for work related to a septic system replacement within a wetland buffer zone at 41 Great Rock Road, map 11, lot 85. This application is available for viewing at the Sherborn Conservation Office. All persons desiring to be heard will be given the opportunity to speak at this hearing. Okay, do we have all the green cards and all that other kind of stuff, besides the fact that we don't have a DEP number?
I sent you the green cards tonight, Joyce.
I did see them. I haven't had an opportunity to check them to the list, but is that everybody?
That's everybody. There was only 6.
Okay, great. There were 6 cards, came back.
Okay, good. So we're all done with that administrative part, and I'll let
And we
you.
have no DEP file number, as you mentioned, so we can't close this tonight.
Yep, that's for sure. And how do you want to do this? Do you want to present or, I don't know, what's,
Yeah, I'll present. That'll be quick. It's pretty straightforward. Do
okay.
you want me to put up the plan, Joyce?
Yes,
want to?
please.
Okay. Oops. Can everybody see that? Yep.
Well, sure, I have it on my own screen bigger, so it's okay. It's no matter what other people can see.
Okay, so the parents Skinner Catroni for the record,
Yep.
representing the owners of 41 Great Rock Road. BBW is flagged on the site on 7/19/24. I tried to color this so it'd be clearer, but it didn't come out too good. So you can see the wetland lines on the right and left side of the property. The area of the existing system is in this area. They were going to put it in that area again, but when I went out to flag it, I found wetlands on this side of the property also. So the applicant obviously is filing for an order of conditions to replace a failed septic system. So all the work is outside the 25-foot buffer. The existing system, the one tree will need to be removed. There's a tree in this area here that will need to be removed for the replacement. We're showing straw compost sock and silt fence in this area to protect both sides of the wetland. Eric showed 6 wetland markers on the plan. In this location, I tried to highlight them a little bit. And we are, I think that's about it. I think that's everything, unless anybody has any questions. So this area and this area is vegetated. This area is a lawn.
Have you gone out, Joyce, to look at the wetland line?
I have not.
Okay. I guess so it's a notice of intent whether we should schedule a site visit.
Yeah, I talked to Karen earlier and suggested that we might do one next week. If everybody has an opportunity. How does Wednesday look?
Wednesday, what time are we, or do we have a time?
Morning. You got, it can be any time from, wait a minute.
I'm flexible next week.
I can do Wednesday morning.
I think I have a meeting Wednesday morning. I'm sorry. I can do Tuesday morning, Monday anytime, Tuesday anytime, or Wednesday afternoon.
You can't do the afternoon. I could do Tuesday morning. Is anybody else, Steve or Terry, able to come, and what works?
Tuesday morning. I can come other mornings too, or Wednesday afternoon.
Terry, do you have any?
Yeah, Tuesday morning works and Wednesday afternoon works.
What,
Okay.
so
can't
should we shoot for Tuesday morning and then
Yeah.
we'll just
Yep.
invite everybody else?
Yeah,
What time works best for everyone?
I don't know. I usually check for other things. I would say 10 o'clock because I could get some other stuff done before, but it's 10 o'clock work? Or 11?
Does for me. I don't know other working folk.
It works for me, but again, other people, I don't know.
Right.
Karen and Joyce, does 10 or 11 work for you, or?
Yeah, that will work for me.
All right, it's a done deal.
Karen, does that work for you?
Yeah, I can do that.
So we're doing 10 a.m. on, or 11, what do you want?
10.
Okay. 10 a.m. site visit, okay. Okay, Joyce, did you have any questions before I open it up to the commission?
Not at this moment, no.
Okay, does anybody else want to comment before I comment?
I'm sorry, you may have said this. Did you say the lawn goes right up to the wetland?
No, the two sides are vegetated. And the back is vegetated. The lawn is, this area here is lawn. So in between these two vegetated
Oh,
areas.
oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it said lawn. I probably
It does say lawn right here.
Yeah, I thought it just said lawn on the. I guess
Well,
it just wasn't clear to me how close to the wetlands on either side that the lawn went.
yeah,
It does go
Quite close, looks
quite
like.
close, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
just for the future, usually we sort of have edge of lawn on the plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can tell what
Yeah, because I think generally, I mean, we'll be able to see when we visit it, but
Yeah.
Pulling the wetland bounds out towards the edge of the lawn or the like currently landscape or altered area, rather than just having them right at the edge
Right
of
at
the
the
wetland.
wetland. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of my comments. That's why the site visit. Will the area with the septic be, can be staked out by for the site visit?
I can ask Eric to do that. Yep.
Okay, and to some extent, because yeah, I was wondering whether, to get it out of the, a little more away from the 50-foot buffer, whether I can't tell, yeah, I guess I can't tell how much it's against whether at the top of the picture, whether there's trees there or not. They talk about, although not depicted, trees within the limit of grading
Yeah.
removed. How many is it just one tree or are there some other trees?
I'll have him stake it out for the site visit.
Right, 'cause we need to know all the trees that would be cut.
Yeah.
If he's
And,
gonna stake it out, could he locate the edge of lawn?
Yeah, I'll tell him to do that also.
Yeah, because I was just wondering whether it could be shifted a little bit up, just to get a little more out of the, but I don't know if it's just living there. For the, to get further out of the 50-foot buffer zone.
Right.
But if it might be, it depends what the condition, whether it's just lawn or something else, or if they want to keep it there, whether there's some other lawn that could be, some lawn that's in the inner buffer that could be let to go unmanaged. If they don't want to shift it up and out. But I guess we can revisit all that after we see the site visit. So yeah, that's some of the issues of just whether it could be shifted a little to be less close, and the tree issue. And the bounds. Okay. Yeah, I think that sort of covered my issues for now. Steve, Terry, do you have any other issues for now for the site visit?
No, I was noticing the same funnel that seemed to open further from the house, so perhaps that's feasible.
Yeah. Well, we'll see when we get there, what it looks like. Okey doke. Steve, did you have any questions or comments at this point?
Your thoughts, and I think we need to have a site visit.
Yeah. Is there anybody in the public who wants to comment on this? Speak up. I don't think I see everybody, but okay. All right, So when would we, let's see, so we have 7:20. 7:30. What are we continuing this hearing to?
Let's do 7:45.
Okay. Uh,
Is that December 19th?
yeah.
Is that
Do you
okay?
think- Is that
Yeah.
gonna be enough time for 3 Oldfield? Or
Well,
just-
I think it'll be fine because we keep having people cancel, so we don't want to.
Okay, worst comes to worst, Karen, it might get a little delayed if if
That's
something-
okay.
Okay, at least we're not making you come down to town hall.
Yeah.
So, the wonders of Zoom. Okay, I move that we continue the hearing on 41 Great Rock Road septic replacement to December 19th at 7:45.
Second.
And any discussion, I will say that it looks like this replacement will be better for the wetlands anyway. Given that, is that a cesspool there or there?
Yes, yes.
So this will be this will be improvement. Okay, roll call vote. Michael, I, Steve,
Aye.
Courtney,
Aye.
Terry.
Hi.
Okay, we'll see you next time. Oh, I guess we'll see you on Tuesday.
I did want to mention, if you don't mind, Westwood just approved the tree and plant removal guidelines. We
Oh.
just did it about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I can send that to you if you'd like to take a look.
Oh, yeah, that'll be
That'd
good.
be
Yeah, thank you.
All
right.
right.
I'll send that tomorrow.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Great. Have a good night, everyone.
Yep, okay,
Thanks, you too.
okay. I will now reopen the hearing on drafting possible regulatory changes. And geez, yeah, I'm only 3 minutes late on that one. Okay. I wanted to, I know, let's see what's going on here. I was just going to share my screen to just go over a few things that would, let's see. I'll start with, okay, let me share my screen. There's two things, one on the left and one on the right. I think you see here, the one on the left is the subdivisions and large lot developments. I don't want to go over the preamble. People can read it. I thought it was kind of a nice preamble that gives a reasonable rationale. Should I make it a little bigger? I'm gonna really just want to, people should read this on their own time. But what I was going to get at was looking at these are kind of the implications of those things, the sort of the standards of I don't know how they use this definition of subdivision control law, whether that's what we use, same thing for any subdivision here, or it has any parcel of 5 acres or more. So, which I think was kind of interesting. I mean, I'd like to do something like this based on what they have here. You can look at, let me see how it goes on here. So you can maybe peruse these. Vernal pool's a little different because they have it as a resource area there. It just asks for more setbacks and
I find something interesting in talking about vernal pools. It's basically a quick read says that if it's not certified, assume it is a vernal pool until otherwise. It seems like the burden of proof is different than I would have expected.
Mhm. Um, yeah, that is kind of interesting. In their case, they have a definition of a vernal pool and other regulations around it. For us, it would be a little different because we don't, unless we wanted to get into that. But even if just, but even these setbacks being, actually, where is it here? They have it set of setbacks. I'm gonna, let's see, I think it's over here. Where is the setbacks table? Oh, yeah. This is the table 3 that they're referring that they double the distances
Mhm.
of, which is something we can consider. This has implications for our buffer zone standards, where they don't have, they have this 70-foot for a structure and then a 50-foot, which is fits our no disturb zone, but they would double these because of who knows what people are going to want to do in the future, which I thought was kind of interesting logic that I guess if we scroll up a little second here, where do we have it here? What they had it here. I guess where trying to see where they have the defense of the fact that they're doubling the setbacks because of, oh yeah, it's in here. I thought this is quite interesting, this logic that even though they're subdivisions and large projects, that once people move in and buy these places, they start wanting to do more with their properties. And so this is building in some contingency for people to come back, to future owners to come in and want to do more, versus the fact that we say, well, geez, they already cut. I don't know what people think of this, but that the developer already cut it to the bare edge of what you could, of where they could build, and therefore you're constrained to what, anything more that you could do. I don't know if you could read that, what people think of that.
Kind of interesting that that last sentence about homeowners must understand the responsibility of living on the edge of a resource area and must obtain the understanding prior to acquiring subject property. How's that understanding being presented to a potential homeowner?
Well,
Is this
in
like a
order-
deed restriction? Like, what's the deal?
The order of conditions that we write standardly has that any
Mhm.
new person has to read them or be given.
So, oops.
I don't know, what do you say? I think, is that what we
Yeah,
have?
so practically speaking, where it talks about these large lots, it's not how they handle it. They don't really look at this particular regulation. Because most lots are large. There are a number of lots that are large that get developed, and they don't always look at it with doubling setbacks and all.
Even if it's subdivided into.
Well,
number-
no, if there's a subdivision, if there's a road, certainly not if it's subdivided into individual lots, but if there's a subdivision with a proposed road, then this is, when this is, they look at it then. And again, there aren't that many subdivisions going on, so
Okay.
You
So
know,
the
it does,
roads-
it does not happen very often.
So the road makes a big difference, but if it was, I guess you need to have a road of some sort. I guess the question is whether it's a subdivision road versus like what is 65 Farm Road called? Is that going to be a
That's
subdivision?
That's a common driveway,
And that's different from a subdivision, a common driveway.
correct? Because it has its frontage on a public way. So it's not a subdivision. There is a definition of a subdivision. It's the creation of a road to acquire frontage.
Oh, I see, right. Now, the question is, would we want to word something where, so the question is whether this logic of things here is, I mean, in the end, a lot of developers just build a family on a single home lot. And we're not gonna go push for doubling the setbacks just because who knows if they're pushing the limit.
Well, one of the good things that Sherborn has that Dover doesn't necessarily have is the planning board looks at all subdivisions now as open space, and that works to preserve a lot of the land as opposed to large lots in a subdivision. They require that there be a minimum amount of open space.
uh, so the question is how applicable is something like this? And how much effort we should do on something like this?
Well,
Um,
I mean, Sherborn also, I think they changed it so that the open space subdivision is by right and other subdivisions are by special permit, just in
Right.
order to promote that. So, yeah, I don't know.
They try to make it that your option is the only way they would do conventional subdivisions is if there were some benefit
Right.
to it.
hmm. Okay, so,
I mean, one of the things the commission should consider is that you don't have a lot of subdivisions. So you don't see a lot of subdivisions in Sherwood, but if you did, doing something like doubling all the setbacks will really impact how a parcel can be utilized. And that might be something that's fine and you want to control it. But on the other hand, you may also be taking, rights away and pushing people towards 40Bs.
hmm,
Again, not that you have a lot of subdivisions in Sherburne.
right. I mean, there might be some, I guess I'll have to look at it again, where there's some sections here of, and like this tree filter zone. This idea of preserving 80% of the tree cover in the buffer zone of each resource area.
That's intriguing.
Yeah,
That one seems valuable
yeah,
to consider, or at least chat about.
yeah, I'd say that's something to think about there. That's where I have to laugh that, oh, this is where I
This is-
saw the 4 inches.
Yeah, this is all brand new, the 80%. So I haven't even dealt with the 80% yet.
Hmm.
Oh, unless it's under subdivisions. Are
This
you
is
still
on the
under
subdivision. This is just on the
Okay.
subdivision.
Yeah. Never mind.
We can think about it there, and
Yeah.
this is how they do their pesticides. And they have the markers, which we do anyway, replication. Yeah, I'm sure in a sense, we do a lot of this stuff anyway. I guess it's really the setbacks issue that's a little different. And in the okay. Yeah, I guess it's really this tree filter and some of the setbacks issues with roadways. So maybe there's not too much here for us to other than to think about what this might mean for buffer zone standards. This
Mhm.
tree thing here. Okay, that's doing that little cursory look, and the other one for people to read is they have their buffer zone standards. Okay, we still have the bounds, and whether we write more about that or just write that we want that. This is that this number 1 here, tree filter zone. You
Well,
can
that's what that's what you have been talking about. So they're calling it a tree filter zone, but really you have to analyze when you do something in the buffer zone and you're going to be taking down trees. The tree filter zone is between the 0 and the 100. And there's a 50-foot no touch zone, just like you have. And so you can only take trees within the 50-foot setback to the 100, and you have to analyze every 100-foot square and calculate the basal area that's being removed, and it can't be more than 50%. And you cannot plant to get that, to meet that percentage, because of course you wouldn't be able to plant anything big enough. So that's the tree filter zone is really the first 100 feet.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would just follow this, because this assumes that you can do a reasonable bit of cutting up to 50%, which is not something I would let, other than the fact of whether it, so I'm not quite sure how I would want to apply this to our case, whereas now we just see number of trees and we'll have some sort of replacement guidelines. This is maybe more generous than what we might do. And so, but whatever, it's an interesting strategy. I don't know if we could want to incorporate it. See, it's probably a little complicated as to actually do it. The setback thing is interesting, where we have to come back and see whether this whole idea of having the 50-foot we already have. Vernal pool is a different issue. We don't have the idea that a structure couldn't be closer than 70 feet.
Yeah, Holliston has that also.
Even if it's altered buffer zone.
No, so both towns, if you have a house and you want to put an addition on and you're going to be closer than these setbacks, you can get a waiver because it's a hardship and you can't pick your house up and move it. So for new construction, these are hard and fast.
Right, for new construction, we'd probably hold hard and fast to the 100-foot buffer zone and maybe allow some disturbances, but I guess we have had a couple of houses, but right, but I can't tell, we and a few projects, there were some houses that were possibly just getting into the little of the edge of the buffer zone. But we pushed people to move out of the buffer zone altogether with the house. So maybe we're already doing this and more. So maybe that's less of a, so maybe the setbacks thing is less useful for us. Let's see. Okay. I guess we do some of this stuff anyway. Outside of all buffer zones for ones. I get how they're actually every square foot of, whoops, Looks like they didn't, something's missing. Here. Outside all buffer zones for lawns. I don't know what that even means. Guess we should. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. If they're actually telling people what to put on fertilizer in lawns.
They might be looking at invasive management.
Okay,
Because they will allow herbicides if they will occasionally allow herbicides.
but that's in the buffer zone.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, but that sounds, it says outside all buffer zones for lawns.
On
I
that
guess
last note, yeah,
Okay, yeah, unless they're talking about any buffer zone that's lawn, I don't know, well, we can go find out what that. I mean, they do have an interesting set of things about waivers. Uh, But, okay, this is less useful than I thought it was gonna be. Now that I'm getting to looking at it again. This, I don't
Well,
know
when
how
I-
they,
I'm gonna,
what's that?
can I ask you if you'd scooch back up to that, the table? If I'm thinking about the sort of, like multifamily, building, that 70-foot structure setback becomes 140 feet.
Oh, yeah,
That's interesting. And the disturbance, is that what the center one was? I'm trying to look back because I made my screen bigger. See where the 50 is at the top of your
that's very disturbing. Oh, yeah, that makes,
screen?
oh, yes, it makes it much more
Yeah.
restrictive.
So then, yeah, so now we're at 100 feet
Yeah, I don't know how,
if you want to put a patio or a pool or something.
yeah, no, in a subdivision, right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no, it's quite a, well, this is for the initial building of the subdevelopment, of the
right,
of the subdivision, then later on, they could come in and.
right. It's
And it's then.
petition understood, but I thought that was interesting that 140 feet for the house gives you
Right.
lots of room potentially to the 100-foot buffer zone to put in whatever little things
Right.
you'd like to amend your backyard with.
Oh, yeah, no, it's sort of interesting.
Anyhow, thank you for doing that.
Okay, unless people have some other, I was actually looking at this waivers thing here, that
Mm.
they can grant waivers overriding public purpose. Now, point C, I find particularly difficult to figure out how they would do the value of the economic value of the public purpose being served. I don't know if they've ever had to do that evaluation.
No, they just basically they look at are there any alternatives, and what's the hardship, that that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, one could do that. I mean, that's where you get fund consultants doing that kind of stuff. Okay. Does anybody, for now, that's all I wanted to go through this for now. Does anybody have any other discussion about these kind of items before we continue the hearing? Okay. So why don't we continue it to at the next meeting?
7
Do the 7:20 and see what things happened again, or so.
no, because we'll have those meet here.
I guess we can move it to 8 o'clock.
It's at 8 o'clock, maybe. Yeah.
let's move it to 8 o'clock and then we'll see how everything goes. Okay, I move that we continue this hearing to December 19th at 8 PM.
Second,
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, I, Steve?
Aye.
Courtney?
I,
Terry?
Aye.
Okay. I think we have done our agenda. Anything we missed, Joyce, or you need?
I'm done.
Okay.
Poor thing.
I'll move to adjourn.
I second. Any move to adjourn at 8:22. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, I. Courtney,
I,
Terry.
Aye.
Oops, I gotta stop sharing. And Steve.
Aye.
there's
Okay,
nobody
meeting-
else in the meeting for you to like call on either.
Meeting adjourned. Well, I was trying to find the stop button.